When I first started at the Ritz, I believed that they didn't quite have the right makeup of food served in a very particular room. The room is one of the most gilded rooms in the country, and one of the finest rooms. And you always used to hear, does the food match up to the decor of the restaurant? So I really thought about that, and I wasn't particularly happy with the kind of utensils that were being used. I didn't think they married. And I also believed that the food was a little bit eclectic for my view. And I actually focused in actually bringing it back to what I call haute cuisine. I think I changed everything and nothing without making a noise. And I think that's the secret. If you make a big noise in a place like the Ritz, you know, everybody will be telling you that you're breaking the place apart. What I was actually trying to do was to really build a longevity in the cooking that we were doing. You know, I've been taught by Frenchmen all my life. My big mentors in life are very French. They are chaps that have actually come and imparted their knowledge in the style that they're doing. The difference with me is I'm very much what I call a British cook, and I'm using French techniques all the time. That's how we've improved our cooking today. And I think it's a very important factor. You know, nobody can disagree with the fact that we've actually got the most beautiful seasonal ingredients, and we don't use them and highlight them enough. And all we have to do is keep a simple technique, such as the French style, and then the food will come. For me, the evolution of food, if you ask me what kind of food I'm cooking, it's called classic evolutionary. Without doubt, you know, because you have to keep it very relevant for today. But every technique that we use has a basis of classic cuisine. Going on to the kit aspect, when Pacojet first came into this country, it's some 25 years ago, and I was in Claridge's, and we had two delivered, ourselves and Anton Mosiman, and we were crushing nuts and making oils and things. Now they're used for a very different scenario. I do have a couple of Pacojets here now, but we're using them for ice creams and things like that. Thermomixes, all of those kind of things, I think are fantastic. People often say to me, they'll say, well, what is the cooking? It is very much classic. When this hotel opened, you still have a look now. It is very much in the Marie Antoinette, Louis Cannes style. You know, you've got to look at that, and that's what it was when it opened. And now today, we have fantastic owners who've invested and restored this hotel on the ground level. That is fantastic. And when you walk through, you feel that through and through. And we must actually use that, and we actually take our food that marries with that. The difference is we've got to actually make it relevant and light enough for today's diner. The dish that I'm actually going to prepare for you is saddle of lamb, Belle Epoque. And obviously the reason why I actually chose it is of good old times. It's an inspirational dish that I learned from Michel Bourdin. He did it in a different way. I modernized it, that made it relevant for today's diner. Fillet is the first thing that comes off, and all it is a matter of just following the bone. And next is a simple matter of trimming. The basic idea is just to bat the fat out as thin as possible, so it becomes much easier to render when we actually put it onto seal. Here we have the saddle, which is totally cleaned of all sinew. You've just got the eye of the meat and the two fillets. Just place the breast of chicken into the Thermomix with the egg white, a little bit of salt. So we then take the puree and pass it through a sieve. The thing is to put it on ice and to make sure that we actually really chill the chicken mousse. A little touch of seasoning, a little bit more salt, and a hint of nutmeg. Once it's chilled, is to add the cream a little bit at a time, retaining the temperature so it's still quite chilled. Shallot, hint of garlic, and just soften them. Mushrooms mixed into a mushroom duxelle. We allow it to cool with a little bit of parsley. So we've mixed our mushroom duxelle into the mousse. Here we've got some blanched spinach leaves. We put them between the parchment paper and into a vacuum bag for two simple reasons. We wanted it to remain very flat so we can just roll onto the fillet, but also so that it doesn't actually gain any more moisture. Take the fillet of lamb, which has been pre-seasoned, and the whole idea is just to take a leaf of the spinach and just roll it gently round so it's totally encased. Put a little bit of salt on the fat, which helps break it down as well. So we just lay our spinach leaves onto the eye of the meat, so it's totally covered there. So as you can see, this is the resulting mousse. Then we just lay our fillet, so it's just spreading it nice and even, so it's right in the center. We have a piece of foie gras, just cutting the ends just so that it marries together. So no matter what, when we actually cut it, there will always be a piece of foie gras sitting in the center there. So the next thing is to build this up. It's not too much. And then finally, the last fillet. I'm just spreading that so it's totally encased. Take the leaves, rolling it around just so that we make sure that the two fat ends are actually coming together and the lamb saddle is sitting upright in the right fashion. And we just lay our saddle of lamb there, one just there, roll it over one more time. The secret is not to be too tight. The idea is to put it in as many portions as you'll get so that you can cut in between the strings. And the whole idea here is that we actually start to render the fat at 180 degrees. And we roast for some 15 minutes. The basic thing now is we're going to dress a saddle of lamb. There we go. A little bit of the garnish. Almost like a crown when we actually place the lamb on. It's totally covered. We just take our saddle of lamb, sit that on top like so, and this is just the lamb jus and just a light drizzle. And away you go.